Today we will also become a little more focused in our discussions and try to explore why doctors are our eternal companions. We have Professor Ravi Kant, the director of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Rishikesh. He is a professor of surgery and was the vice chancellor of King George Medical University from 2014 to 2017, and had the surgery has been heading the surgery of All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Bhopal. We have Dr. Sonia Malik. She is a founder and director of South End Fertility and IVF in New Delhi, and the champion of women's health, uh, one of the finest doctor in reproductive health also in the country. We have Dr. Suchin Bajaj. He is the founder and director of Ujala Cygnus Hospital that runs a chain of healthcare facilities in North India. Combining his medical skills with that of an administrator, Dr. Bajaj was among the entrepreneurs leading disruptive change by the Economic Times and is associated with multiple health tech companies. So let's begin our inaugural panel today, and I welcome all our guests on this panel. I would request Dr. Suchin Bajaj to address us with his opening remark and in a way set the agenda of the day, where we are celebrating the contribution and support of millions of healthcare workers and affiliated workforce.
Namaskar to everyone, and thank you again, Kamalji, for organizing this Doctors Gratitude Week. It is an amazing initiative, the first of its kind, and we are very, very happy and proud to be a part of it. We are extremely proud also of the healthcare workers working with us for fighting this pandemic as they have done in the previous few months that we've seen. We've seen that even in the most advanced of countries, health systems have broken down. There has been shortage of equipment, shortage of PPEs, shortage of healthcare staff. But compared to that, India has done really well for itself. There was no expectation that India would manage things so wonderfully. There had been a time when it looked like we would be swamped completely, but the healthcare workers, the manufacturers, the ventilator manufacturers, all of them have come together to fight this pandemic. And we, in the beginning, thought that we were fighting a 21st century war with 20th century weapons. But we have proven that we can make those weapons and those solutions very quickly. So, as we know that entrepreneurs are someone who jumps off a cliff and makes the parachute on the way down, right? Risking his life and risking his home and house and everything. In this case, we did not even jump, we were pushed off the cliff. But I feel that we have managed to make the parachute very effectively and are on the way to safety. Uh, it's an old saying, right, that problems arise themselves, but solutions have to be found. समस्या तो खुद ही पैदा हो जाती है कमल जी, समाधान ही ढूंढना पड़ता है, समाधान कभी खुद पैदा नहीं होता है. So we have been able to find the solutions. A lot of them, like Dr. K.K. Agarwal also said yesterday, the mortality of the virus is decreasing. Hopefully, in the next 15 days, we will definitely make sure that nobody dies of this virus. Like we have ensured for other infectious diseases, for other diseases in the past as well. So we've been living through very strange times. We did not choose these strange times, but we actually can choose how we live through these times. So sometimes these crises bring out the best in people, but sometimes they bring out the worst in people as well. We've seen incredible support for the medical community, for hospitals, but it has been painful to see some people having a different kind of approach as well. You can see a duplicitous approach that, you know, if you are sick yourself, then obviously you should get a bed in the hospital. Everybody should admit you, that you should never be turned back. Doctors should come and treat you. But if you are not sick, then you should not even allow a corona patient near you. You know that we had some of these issues. Meenakshi ji also knows in her constituency only one of our hospitals is there, and the RWA was filing continuous court cases against one of our hospitals saying you should not treat corona patients in your hospital, even though the Delhi government had filed a directive, just because the RW felt we are a rich community and corona patients should not come near you. So these kinds of behaviors, fortunately, have been few and far between. And in general, the country has rallied around healthcare providers, healthcare workers. They've helped them. There have been few and far cases of landlords not allowing doctors and nurses to stay there. Evicted tenants who were affected with COVID have been evicted from their houses. So there have been a few cases. Hopefully, we won't see more of them. Hopefully, we will rally around, because see, once you start fighting against one infectious disease, it never ends. Where will you stop? Tomorrow you'll be fighting against patients with tuberculosis. On the third day, you'll be saying typhoid patients cannot stay near us. So it is a never ending thing. You cannot differentiate and discriminate against people based on a disease that they did not choose to get. So this discrimination and this antipathy towards sufferers needs to be taken care of. And I'm sure your initiative and your bringing together lawyers, lawmakers, doctors, providers, patients, all of these on one single platform will go a long way in taking this cause to the rightful place. Thank you very much again, Kamalji, and looking forward to a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suchin. And we know that you are fighting this pandemic on the front line. You are running your COVID-19 hospital, and you are also trying to expand the capacity to make sure that as many people as possible can get this care. Now I'll go forward to Professor Ravi Kant. Professor Ravi Kant is with us. So Professor Ravi Kant, thank you so much for joining us. And we have Professor Ravi Kant, who is heading the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Rishikesh. And I invite Professor Kant to deliver his keynote address on this Gratitude Week, which we are celebrating to underline and highlight the wonderful, the life-saving contribution of the entire health workforce across this country, across the world. Thank you so much, Professor Ravi Kant. Over to you.
Welcome, Mr. Kamal. Actually, if we see the tribute to health guardians is not only during Corona, but it is a lifelong process. When you are born, when you are getting vaccinations, when you become sick, when you are elderly, when you are childbearing age, when you are say geriatric age, you need them every time. So this tribute goes on and on. But let me say what have been the issues so far. 99% of hospitals in India were not having a pressure negative environment to treat the corona infection. So that was the issue one. None was trained to use a PPE, and N95 was available to us even before corona. But it was not stocked so much. We had a fair enough stock, but not so much. So the key point is we were not ready even by what you call it engineering design. We wanted a pressure negative environment. It was not easy at all. All our ICUs are pressure positive. So that was the challenge one. Challenge two was around the India, the capability of health service is unequal, and I would say that variation is phenomenal. Having been in Delhi for more than 2 decades, I can definitely say the various focus vary too much in competency and equipment. And therefore, a better management could be that we should think about Indian medical service. And I was indeed wondering, that when you're talking about a gratitude and a memorial, you can see that the statues come down very soon. We have seen in Iraq, we have seen in America, statues come down very soon. But what is the long lasting will be creating an Indian medical service, which is in nook and corner of each village, each place. That will be such a tribute that give a long time to happen. Now, what we are seeing is again the capability to provide oxygenation and everything is so demanding nowadays. And the rationale is giving an example. When the bullets are being fired on the field in a war, it is very easy to say that we will manage the patient. But once the bullet is passing through your ear or near the ear whizzing past you, that management of patient is a very demanding situation. Similar situation is when you are managing a coronavirus. You are not only bothered about yourself, you are bothered about your children, about your parent, about your family, about your friends, whether you will give that infection to your only child or to your dear parent or to wife. That becomes a phenomenal fear apart from a desire to serve. So this is a big challenge. The second challenge is people were not trained enough before this event how to wear a PPE, how to take off the PPE. That is another challenge. That how do we train large number of population? And we found it was not only for we have to train only doctors, we have to train entire nurses, we have to train housekeeping staff, we have to train electricians, the engineers who will go there. It is a big challenge. But the best thing is major institutions can handle this challenge very easily. That was part of it. But what is happening to the smaller institution is another issue. And therefore we can see that testing, again I will come, what was the status of testing? I think the testing which required RT-PCR method, because it has 3 steps, viral transfer medium, then RNA extraction, and then testing. I would say we had a capacity constraint at the highest order. Even today, I can handle 200 to 500 sample or 600 sample per day or 1000. But what comes when we get 3000 samples in a day? That becomes another issue. So there is a major issue about how we are, the capacity constraint. But at this time, I would say the Indian government has risen very well. The Indian government has done so well that phenomenal support and phenomenal leadership at the central level has made all these problems look that they can be managed and they can be managed in a positive way. So I consider that the challenge which was never thought of, the challenge which we never dreamed, it has been handled so well. And not only, I would say, due to a cooperation by entire population, but mainly due to the strong leadership support by the central government and equally commitment by not only healthcare workers, but all supporting staff, which include engineers and all other group in the hospital. So we can now, I would say, manage corona very well. But what is the spin-off? The spin-off is the cancer care has gone down, the coronary care has gone down, the serious patients who are coming, they got barred because of various obstacles. So it became a major issue how to handle other patients. Now that is gradually coming up again. We are trying to bring that thing gradually again, that is coming on road. So it has been a corona-focused era in which other major diseases got lost out quite significantly. But now we are coming back to, I would say, rails. And therefore, the whole team, whether it is involved in corona or involved in surgical area or wherever, it is a real gratitude to them that despite so much adversity, they have handled it very well. And thank you, Mr. Kamal Narayan and the ISW Council, that you have taken this challenge and right to say hello to everyone, because it's a big challenge to organize so many days of meeting. And also, I would say, a very, very nice gesture from you that it has been taken. And I would say the right tribute will be prepared for the next war. Because this war will come every 30 years to the 30% level and every 100 years to 100% level. If are we prepared for next war? Are we prepared for next pandemic? That will be the major issue. Whether we'll have hospital which will have pressure negative areas for ICU, whether we'll have enough ventilator in future. I think it's a key component today is increase the expenditure on health from 1% to significantly 5 or more percent. That will make a major change. But even today, with so much constraint on the border, the leadership in India has done phenomenally well in supporting health area. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamal, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Professor Ravi Kant, and it's wonderful to hear from you. And then one important thing which you highlighted is that despite that our health workforce was not equipped, despite that our health workforce was not trained, was not prepared, still they rose up to this occasion and they ensured. And despite that all fear and dilemma and the risk of life, risk of their family's life or apprehensions, none of them, or I think we haven't heard much of that, that anyone would have gone away from the line of duty.
Nobody.
We have seen society tried to throw them out, but we haven't heard that the doctors or health workforce might have resigned, that we are not going to serve because there is a pandemic. So that is more heartening scenario, and I believe that people like you with leading this healthcare system, we will and you will definitely make all those arrangements in terms of infrastructure, that we are ready for the next pandemic also, as we can't avoid them. So we as
the real gratitude will be ready for future.
Yes. So thank you so much. And this is a message that we need to be ready for the future. And with this kind of dedicated healthcare workforce, we will be ready for future, for everything. Thank you so much. We are running a little late, but I would request Dr. Sonia Malik, who is our another guest of honor in this inaugural session. Dr. Malik, your words about how do you feel as a doctor during this time when the whole focus and then the response, the expectation of these 1.35 billion people and globally is on somebody who is called doctor or medical professional. Dr. Sonia Malik.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kamal, and thank you very much, IWC, for having me here. And we have heard such beautiful expositions from various leaders and from various parts of the society talking about this virus, the disease, this pandemic. Being a doctor, I am also a part of it, as you know. But, I would take this forum, first of all, to thank my colleagues who are on the forefront and trying to handle this as best as we can. However, having said that, as a gynecologist, because I stand for gynecology, our role is slightly different even in this pandemic. We have our doctors standing there, bringing in life into this world. Not just saving lives, we are bringing in life into this world, and therefore the responsibility for us is immense, because we have to ensure that both the mother that we are treating as well as the child that we are bringing into this world is protected and is safe. And it's not just a normal woman always, it can be a high risk pregnancy as well, with the diabetes, with comorbidities that we are so scared of in this pandemic. So these doctors have a double responsibility. As Dr. Ravikant said, they are scared about their own families getting it, but they are more scared about the patient in front of them, that the patient remains safe and the baby remains safe, the baby that is going to come out. Because our future generations, the generations of this country, are dependent on what is the quality of newborns that we are going to get into this country. So that is a huge responsibility that the gynecologists are facing these days, in addition to saving the lives of the mothers, which we have always done. That is one part of it. And then, of course, the pandemic has taught us many lessons. We all know that. But more than anything else, it has taught us to become a responsible nation. And I think that responsibility is something that every member of the society in India needs to understand. The doctor can only act as an advisor. We have advised that you need to wear masks, you need to do social distancing and whatnot. And the government has laid down rules. They have tried to set in their own rules. But is everybody listening? Are we responsible enough? Are we doing what we are supposed to? That is something that each one of us as the community has to understand, that it is not just you. If you are not responsible, you are harming your own self as well as the others around you. So all of us have to make a collective effort to fight against this. It's a battle against an unseen, unknown enemy. Nobody has seen the enemy, but we can feel it. We can feel it around us. And the fear that has grown out of this enemy is immense. It is much more than we have ever witnessed ever in our lifetimes. We have never been so scared of anything ever. as doctors also, we have faced all kinds of dreadful emergencies. I have my senior sitting here with me, and all of us have faced so many catastrophic patients, but never at such a scale, never at such a large scale. So therefore, it is important for all of us to undertake a pledge today, as not as doctors, but with the doctors, that all of us will act as responsible citizens. And as Dr. Professor Ravikant said, this is what is going to make us prepared for the next pandemic. If we as if we as human beings, as patients, as community, learn to be responsible, then we are going to really do it when it comes next. But if we are going to behave the way we are, opening malls, going for shopping, going to the restaurants, doing whatever we want to without being responsible, I think it's going to hit us even worse. So that is my message to all of us, that, time to learn and time to believe that we can do it if we want to. We have done it. We are much ahead of what we were in February. We are much better off. The mortality has gone down considerably with the better understanding of the disease and better management of the disease. But a lot needs to be done as far as community level is concerned. And therefore, it's not just the government's responsibility, it is our responsibility as well, as citizens of this country, to take care of our own selves and that of the country. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malik, for your kind word, and also for highlighting that what is the role society need to play, and so that we are able to take this fight in a better manner in the future, and are also getting prepared for any such fight. And also you have set the really, the course of our upcoming discussions also, which is going to be, highlighting that why every woman and every mother need to be taken care of, and how we are going to ensure that the health care reaches to each one of them. And as Dr. Ravikant also said, that in the time of pandemic, we have put many of the other healthcare requirement, or feel that it has been put on the back burner. But there are many for whom this is never on the back burner. They are still consistently trying to reach that every mother, every woman get healthcare which they need.